As a mortgage loan originator, there are 5 stages to your entire career. You start off as a technician. Your goal is to go and become an advisor. Eventually, you would love to become a rainmaker. And for many of you, that's where it stops. And for many of you, that's okay. However, there's actually a stage 4 and a stage 5. And stage 5 is when you start building a legacy. Today's episode is all about unpacking these 5 stages, helping you determine where you are today, but more specifically, what you need to do to evolve, graduate, and level up to your next stage. Check this out. They don't teach this shit in school, but they should. Welcome to the Loan Officer Podcast, hosted by me, Dustin Owen, one of the most influential people in the mortgage industry, along with my friends who've lived it, built it, failed at it, fixed it, and scaled it. This is not a show just for mortgage professionals. This is everything I learned because I became a mortgage loan originator. This is the Loan Officer Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and with me from the TLOP team, I've got my right-hand man, Marketing Mike, and our producer extraordinaire. We call her Special K. You call her Karina Mojica. What up, y'all?
Hi.
What's happening?
Man, I am pumped up. Here we are into July, going into August.
Yes.
So we have staring down the barrel. Actually, next week, we're going to be at FAMP.
Yeah.
FAMP's annual sales conference. Shout out to Orlando Diaz and the entire crew.
Pumped up.
We're going to be on-site podcasting. Yes. I think we're bringing on the owner of A&D Mortgage.
Yes, sir.
Pretty confident we're going to have Logan Matashami on there.
Let's go.
I'll probably have Orlando come back on. Maybe this time bring one of his lobbyists, because I know those guys are fighting so hard right now against the upcoming condo legislation, which, hey, cool. FYI, y'all, by the time this drops and you tune in, limited reviews on condos, bye-bye. Mm-hmm. Like, that's your gentle reminder. And starting next year, getting condo approval becomes even more difficult. But yeah, man, I'm excited about that. But Karina, what do you think I'm really excited about? What's right after FAMP?
The cruise.
The cruise. Yes,
Let's
the cruise.
Go.
We joke with Karina all the time. I tell her mom has to come on the cruise to babysit her. And she gets really mad at me because that's not the case. That is not the case. But Karina's mom, who happens to be Mike's mother-in-law, is going to be on the cruise because Mike's wife is joining, and they're going to bring their 2 small kids. But Karina's mom is going to be watching the kids.
That's right.
So Mike can work. But I jokingly tell Karina that because this is not a Carnival cruise, this is a Royal Caribbean cruise, and they have standards and age limits that we have to bring her mom on. But for those that have been tuning into the show, you've been following us, whether it's on Instagram or LinkedIn. Yes, it's TLOP's first ever huge mortgage sales conference. It's September 14th through 18th. And it's going to be badass. That's my promise.
Yeah.
It's going to be nothing but what you want out of a conference. The networking, the masterminding, the breakout sessions, memories that'll last you an entire career, connections that last you an entire career. And we're putting together a pretty sweet agenda for the Sales Summit at Sea.
Yep.
I think last I checked, we had 13 cabins left.
13. Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a couple more, but by the time this airs, it should be about 13.
Yeah. There's 13 cabins left.
Yeah.
Some of them are balcony. Most of them are not. We've sold out of all the balcony cabins.
Yep.
They all allow for double occupancy. So if you want to bring a guest or you want to bring a colleague or a coworker, and y'all, it's super affordable.
$650 a piece if you get that interior. So,
correct. Yeah, you get that interior. You split it with a friend. You split it with a colleague.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're talking your entertainment, your food, access to all of the TLOP events. And because of cool-ass sponsors, which we have, over half a dozen, a lot of the events we're including your alcoholic beverages if you want to partake. So go to our website, tloponline.com, TLOP online. What you're looking for is the Unite link. You click on the Unite. That's where you can see our agenda. That's where you can register. That's where you can have your FAQs. And within the next week or two, we're going to post the agenda for the Sales Summit at Sea.
Yep.
But you have to act now because we literally have 13 cabins left. Basically room for about 20 to 25 max mortgage professionals. This is not like your average conference. It's not like you can go book the hotel across the street. Like, no, this is Royal Caribbean's Utopia of the Seas. We're heading to the Bahamas, and this is your official invite for a last minute come along. I'm excited about today's episode.
Yes, sir.
Literally, this is going to make a lot of what I'm talking about in 2027 and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
This topic that we're talking about today is going to be the next big boot camp cohort that I write, the course, the modules that we make available to the mortgage industry. And this is probably the one episode that would be the most impactful, especially for those that are 2+ years into their industry, into their career, and they want more than what they have, and they're trying to go places, but maybe they just haven't been able to conceptualize it.
Yeah.
So get ready to tune in, have some knowledge dropped on you. But before we do, quick pause so we can hear from today's show sponsor. Check this out.
TLOP Unite is not your typical mortgage event. This is the first ever TLOP cruise experience built exclusively for originators. And for 4 days, it's not about the speakers, it's about you. We're talking breakout strategy sessions, real conversations, curated events, and uninterrupted access to a community that helps you grow. If you're serious about taking your career to the next level, this is where you need to be. Space is limited and the price is right. So click the link now and learn more.
All right, so we're back. And Mike, I want you driving this ship, right?
Yeah.
So I teased it in the soft open that there's essentially 5 stages of someone's career, right? Stage 1 is where we all start. Stage 2 is where you get to typically by about your second or third year in the industry. Now, there's some people tuning in. If you're not at stage 2 and you've been in the industry for, I don't know, let's say at least 2 years, this is your wake-up call. This is your come to Jesus moment. Many of us are striving to get to stage 3. And I know plenty of originators that are 13 years into their career and they're not yet at stage 3. And that's okay, but it's only okay if you're okay with your results. If you're not okay with your results, then you have to start thinking about what has to change for you to get to stage 3.
Yeah.
Not many people make it out of stage 3. And stage 5, so like you go from 3 to 4, right? So not many people get to 4, which means you make it out of 3. And then getting to 5 is like the holy grail.
Yeah.
It is the holy grail of any entrepreneur, of any business operator. And that would be the things that unicorns and marshmallows and gumdrops and candy are all made of, right? Like like unicorns and leprechauns. That's the land
It's
that you
your
live
happily
in.
ever after.
It's your happily ever after. It's your big, hairy, audacious goal or your BHAG. So let's do this. Let's let you drive.
Yeah, I'm ready.
You walk the originators and the mortgage professionals through the stages. I'll add commentary and color as I see fit.
Cool. I mean, so first and foremost, and I think this one's a little obvious, but sometimes it does need to be said, the technician, right? This is like when the LO is learning guidelines and educating themselves on the product, right? They're kind of learning the industry, solving problems, and just winning by doing, right? Because when they're doing, they're learning.
In the very beginning, you have to understand there's a T in mortgage,
Yes.
right? And that's always a joke. Like, oh, Karina was today years old when she knew that there's a T in mortgage because most people don't pronounce the T, right? So they don't put the T in there when they spell it. But in the very, very, very beginning, you have to understand what it is that you're doing. This is like understanding LTV. By the way, loan to value, not lifetime value. That's
You knew I was thinking lifetime value.
That's the new LTV.
Yeah,
that's
loan
the
to
one
value.
that we're coaching and teaching a lot of.
Yep.
But I'm talking for the technicians. You're talking about loan to value, debt to income ratio, how to calculate income, like just the most basics. You're learning the difference between an FHA loan and a conventional loan. You're learning that VA loans are only for qualified veterans and active duty military, that if your dad was a veteran, you can't get a VA loan, right? And those are like the basics that people don't understand. You're understanding what closing costs are. You're understanding, that people qualify more on a payment than they do on an actual sales price. And as a technician, you may be even understanding, like, how do I read a rate sheet?
Right.
How do interest rates move? What's the impact of a 6.5% rate versus 6.75% rate? Like, that is very technical. And in the beginning, that's where you need to be. However, I would caution that, yes, you need to understand the technical aspect of the job, but all of us have to be really good at networking, really good at putting together a marketing strategy, deploying that strategy, building relationships that generate referrals. Therefore, we can have leads, and those leads can convert, right? Because that is, as you said, how you learn. You learn by doing in this industry.
Absolutely.
So step one is you're a great technician.
Yep.
Yep.
You're a
And I'm
doer.
thinking for most of you, that's your first 2 years in the industry. You are failing forward with learning how to market, with learning how to sell, with learning how to become an advisor. But in the very beginning, you are what we deem a technician.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be a technician. A technician can probably generate 10 to 15 leads a month. They can probably fund 1 or 2 loans a month. They can probably make a decent income, but definitely not the income that they were looking for by getting into this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, you kind of foreshadowed it there, or gave a hint at it, but that's kind of phase 2, which is the advisor.
Phase 2 is the advisor.
And the advisor's like, now you're able to give advice, right? You're educated, you put in the legwork, you know what you're doing a little bit more, you become kind of a consultant, you're able to consult on more of strategy, not just the products. And now you have a little bit of swag, a little bit of confidence.
I like that swag word. So so the conversation would sound like this. A technician may be like, all right, Karina, how do I spell your name? How do I spell your last name? Where do you work? How much money do you make per year?
Yep.
How much money do you have in the bank? Is that checking or savings? Like, it's very robotic. Whereas an advisor rolls in and says, hey, Karina, is this your first time going through the home buying process, or have you gone through the home buying process before? The reason why I asked this, Karina, is because I need to be able to determine how fast or how slow I go based on your experience. And then the next question wouldn't be like, how much money do you make? It would be something on the lines of, hey, Karina, when you sit down and you think about becoming a home owner, and you're thinking about the budget aspect of that, like, what's a monthly payment that you're comfortable paying? Karina, the reason why I'm asking this question is because most times I can qualify home buyers like yourself for more home than you want to afford. The last thing I'm looking to do is make you house poor. But what I do want to do is take your comfort monthly payment, and I want to marry it to a sales price based on how much money you earn a year, what your budget is, and more importantly, how much money you have set aside or allocated to go towards this transaction, right? Like, those types of conversations where it sounds like you're talking to an advisor who is asking you not how much money do you have in the bank, but how much money do you have allocated to go towards a transaction? Not how much money do you make. It's like, what is your monthly budget, and can I marry that budget to a realistic sales price based on the money you have allocated? Yes, I'm going to ask you, hey, Karina, what do you do for a living? How long have you been doing that? What do you love most about that? How do they compensate you? Right? And then can I document that compensation with your pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns, 1099s, et cetera? Right? So these are all things that advisors are doing. An advisor can talk to someone and within probably 5 minutes know, I'm probably going to go FHA first on this person, right? Because they told me that they have a parent who's going to be co-signing and that their credit is 670 and they're going to have minimum to put down. And they're a little bit worried about how much recurring debt they currently have. They're not worried about making the payment because their little brother's going to work with them, or not work with them, live with them. But it's not like I can use little brother's income to help them qualify. So mom's co-signing, their credit score is 670. I'm worried about having a higher DTI, and I'm putting minimum money down. Like, an advisor knows more than likely I'm going to FHA, right? Just because of LLPAs in the conventional world and how expensive PMI is going to be. Whereas a technician, like, they probably don't know that. All they know right now is how to take the information, how to calculate maybe income, potentially do a fee worksheet, and then see whether or not the person qualifies. But they're not quite dipping into, no, I'm an advisor.
Question. How long should a technician be in the technician phase, and how long should an advisor be in the advisor phase before getting to this third phase we're going to get into?
So it's interesting. You and I even debated this off camera. Like, obviously, once you become a technician, you're always a technician.
Right.
However, it's like, what stage of your career are you in? So if I'm in stage 4, like, I haven't been a sole technician for potentially a decade, but still a lot of my functionality is a technician. Now, if you're in stage 4, you probably have technicians on your team.
Yeah.
And those technicians at this standpoint are probably way better technicians than you. I got ahead of myself. To answer your question, you're a technician coming out of the gates, and it's going to take you 2 or 3 years to become
Really?
a great technician. However,
Okay.
you start working on becoming an advisor
6 months?
as soon as you can.
Okay.
Yeah, like I would almost say, can you do it concurrently?
Yeah.
The problem is it's easier to become a technician than it is to become an advisor. Advisor takes experience. It just does. Like,
And you can't have that overnight.
no,
Like,
I'll use myself as an example. 25 years old. Michelle's pregnant with Jackson. We just bought our first house. We never should have, by the way. I couldn't afford that thing. I literally, funny story. This is how things happened back in the 2004, 5, and 6 time frame. I didn't have enough money for down payment, so I stopped paying all of my bills, and I put it all on a credit card. I then took the money I would have been paying towards my bills and saved it, and that was my 5% down payment. I had my dad give me a gift of $5,000, but was it really a gift? It really wasn't, because I was going to pay him back over time.
Yeah,
it
but
just wasn't a promissory
for
note.
underwriting, it was a gift.
It was an agreement between dad and son.
Got it.
That I was going to re-gift him this money over time. So I racked up my credit card. I did a no-doc loan. So literally no documentation.
Yeah.
Put my 5% down, had my dad give $5,000, probably had the seller give a seller credit, and we bought our first house.
It's awesome.
Okay, so in this phase of my life, I didn't know, honestly, the difference between a checking account, money market account, a CD, and a savings account.
Yeah.
I didn't know really what a HELOC was and what a HELOC did. I sure as heck didn't fully understand a 401k and 401k matching. And if I did, I didn't know that there's a thing called a 403b. I didn't understand IRAs, both Roth and traditional.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of things that I just didn't know that I think are basic personal finance that I later learned. I didn't understand how to properly budget. I didn't understand how to properly help someone
That's
get
why
out
they
of
need
debt.
to teach it in our school systems, honestly.
They don't. That's why people need a great
Yeah.
loan officer.
Right.
This is our responsibility as mortgage professionals, is to be this.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So advisors know all of that.
Yeah.
Advisors can look at someone's scenario from a holistic approach and give sound fiscal advice, not because you're a financial advisor, a financial planner, a chartered financial analyst, just because you're somebody who knows more than the average bear.
Yeah.
And ready, I couldn't read a tax return.
Right.
And as a technician, that's like the high level of technician, where you're like not just reading personal tax returns, but business tax returns, whether they're S corps or whether they're showing up on a different type of corporation, a C corp, et cetera. So to answer your question, you are concurrently trying to go from technician to advisor, but becoming an advisor just takes longer.
Yeah.
So it's okay if it takes you 3 years to become an advisor, whereas coming out of the gates, we're all technicians, but we're technicians trying to morph into that advisor without losing all the technical skills that we built.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense.
Yep.
And so after advisor, we're going into kind of phase 3, stage 3.
You ready to do this?
Well, I'm ready to do this because this is Rainmaker. Okay.
Yes.
This is when you become a Rainmaker. And I think this is where TLOP's originator coaching. I think this is the phase where you start looking at it, right? Versus advisor.
We make Rainmakers.
We make Rainmakers.
We make
exactly. So
Rainmakers.
when you are an advisor and you got that swag and you're ready to go, take it to the next level. I feel like that's when you get us involved and you become a Rainmaker because you're mastering lead generation. You're getting amazing at building referrals, your pipeline. You're able to teach. You're networking. You're generating your own demand.
Yeah. Yeah. We have, for those that don't know, whether you're coming in because your company brought us in to coach 30 or 40 of you at a time over 6 months,
Yep.
or you're an individual, like we've graduated, 50, 60 over the past several years who are coming in, they're being put in small groups of 8 to 10, and you're going through our launch boot camp. That boot camp creates Rainmakers.
Yes.
Like it absolutely creates Rainmakers. Now, the community is for everybody.
Yeah.
Like we have Rainmakers that have graduated from the boot camp and they hang out in the community.
Yeah.
We have people that maybe they're still technicians trying to become advisors and they love the community because it's entry level for them. It's a great place to get their feet wet. It doesn't break the bank. It doesn't cost them an arm and a leg, but they have access to top producers such as myself and my 5 coaches. That said, what does it mean to be a Rainmaker?
Loan officers, if 2026 is going to be your breakout year, this matters. Most originators don't struggle because of rates. They struggle because they don't have systems, structure, or accountability. I'm Coach Christy with TLOP's Originator Coaching. Originator Launch is a 16-week small group coaching program designed to help you build a real business, not just close the next loan. You'll get weekly live coaching, proven scripts used by top producers, real accountability, homework that actually moves the needle, and 2 private one-on-one calls with your coach. This program is capped at just 10 originators, so the attention is personal and the results are real. This isn't a course you watch. It's coaching you execute. If you're ready to stop guessing and start building with intention, apply now. Spots are limited, and once they're gone, enrollment closes. Register today.
Okay, a Rainmaker is somebody who's generating 30 plus leads a month on their own. Let's call them referrals. That's what they are.
Yep.
Right? So you're generating 30 referrals or 30 leads every single month.
Mm-hmm.
That means you're funding 5, 6, 7 loans a month. That means you are at wit's end if you're trying to do this on your own.
Right.
Like you're pulling your hair out, you're working 7 days a week, you're making over 200 grand for the first time in your life, more than likely.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not the life or the career that you really had envisioned. It's the money you wanted, but it's not the work-life harmony. So you start team building. Right. And team building is in itself, it's an exercise. It's a process. Just like becoming a great technician took a year to become a technician, 3 years to become a great technician, X amount of transactions. You focus on becoming an advisor probably by about month 6. You probably weren't a good advisor until you're probably 3 years. So now you're like, good advisor, you're a good technician. Now you're wanting to become a Rainmaker. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of people who never make it a Rainmaker status. I've pulled your Redder data. I've looked at Model Match, right? Like pulling that data, but it doesn't mean that you can't be. And by the way, if you don't want to be, that's okay. Like fly your freak flag, do you, homie. My only advice to those people is this. You chose this profession for a reason. Mm-hmm. Usually that reason was untapped income potential. Okay, you are not a medical doctor. You really don't have any other way to make 4, 6, 900 grand a year. This industry gives you that opportunity, but we don't know for how long. Is it going to be 3 years? Is it going to be 13 years? Is it going to be 30 years?
Yep.
But if you could operate as if the next 3 years, you can make the most money possible. Why wouldn't you want this? It's just going to take some hard work up front. It's going to take dedication, drive, and trusting the process. So becoming a Rainmaker, although it's stage 3 of 5, for many, they're 13 plus years in the industry. They're not there yet. Yeah. But they could get there. Like you could totally get there. And once you're doing your 5, 6 loans a month, you're going to have to hire a who. Dan Martell teaches this in Buy Back Your Time. Who, not how. Yep. So you're going to have to find that who, and that who's going to have to come in typically as an LOA or a loan partner and take the things off of your plate that you don't like to do and you're not good at doing.
And that's more so stage 4.
Well,
the operator, because that's when you start to look at hiring resources and scaling as a business.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but I will tell you, Rainmakers, to become a Rainmaker, a Rainmaker is somebody that says, look, I have the following.
Yep.
I have the marketing strategy. We are deploying this marketing strategy. Mm-hmm. It's producing results. Those results are referrals, they're leads, and now they're closings. Yeah. And I cannot continue to scale and grow without finding a who.
Right.
The operator is building a team. Right now, I'm just talking about hiring a teammate.
Yeah.
Right. Just hiring someone that can come in that you can offload your $20 to $30 to $40 an hour task onto that person so you can focus more on your $80 to $100 to $200 an hour task.
Right.
So yes, but Rainmakers focus on the marketing. They focus on the branding. They focus on being the source of information. They focus on having lots of meaningful conversations,
networking
on a daily basis. They're hosting events, they're attending events. Yes. And at some point, doing loans is kind of getting in their way.
Oh yeah.
Right. Doing loans is what's getting in their way, but doing loans is also what gets them paid, and it's what got them to where they're at. But I have the saying, like, what got you here won't get you there.
Yep.
So every single stage, whatever you did to be a good technician, that same behavior won't allow you to become a great advisor. You're going to make a change. Then when you become a great advisor, while also technically being proficient, what's going to get you to Rainmaker isn't what you're already doing. You're going to have to make a change. Then when you become a Rainmaker, if you want to get to stage 4, which is operator, you're going to have to make yet another change. I think one of those first changes a Rainmaker, that's your first time diving or delving into building your team.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're touching that for the first time. And that's like what you said. A lot of advisors don't make it to be a Rainmaker. And they kind of stay in that phase. Well, you mentioned this in the beginning of the episode. A lot of Rainmakers, they don't make it to the operator stage.
No.
And the operator stages, I kind of feel like that's where, I guess it blends in the Rainmaker into this as well. But this kind of new kind of TLOP curriculum that you've been hinting at with me off air, that leans more into the operator, right? It's ditching the LO essentially.
Yeah. So like I look at Coach Brian Kimball. I look at Coach Gwen Swain.
Yeah.
Okay. Gwen right now, her entire team. Well, Gwen did 2 big things. She brought in a true managing partner.
Yep.
Her coach.
Yep.
She hired her coach and made that person a part of her operation.
That's awesome.
And they're going through traction EOS training.
Love it.
Like they brought in an expert. I've tried to do calls with Gwen. She's like, "Oh, this is my day that we're implementing traction or we're implementing EOS."
Yeah.
That's what operators do. And there are plenty of Rainmakers that make $300,000 a year, $500,000 a year.
But they're burning out.
They are
and they're
burning
capped.
out. Yes.
And that's it. That's why. So the operator's building systems now.
Yes.
Hiring and developing people, protecting their calendar, which you just said Gwen is doing. They know their numbers. They make decisions quickly. They think in decades instead of months.
Yes. So like I shout out to Coach Brian Kimball.
Yep.
Like BK has his branch. He has a couple satellite branches. He's still doing personal production.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy is making like high 6-figure income.
Yep.
Yet he works Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. He takes 3 weeks vacation with his cell phone turned off. Now, he coaches through elite coaching at TLOP.
Yeah.
He coaches others how to do that.
Yep.
Right? And he's teaching it from his personal experience, his personal success, which all started with his personal failure. So Brian's going to be keynoting the TLOP Unite event. He's kicking it off in the morning.
Yep.
And I want him telling the story about how Orange County Brian became Knoxville, Tennessee Brian. Because Orange County Brian closed a bunch of loans and made a bunch of money. Right? It's Orange County, California, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is where Brian was born and
Probably
raised. It's where he launched his career.
Like,
He now lives in Knoxville, Tennessee with his wife and his children on a homestead. He's the happiest he's ever been. He's making the most money he's ever been. And the difference is he went from Rainmaker to operator.
Yeah.
Now, it didn't come easily,
right?
It came with sacrifice and learning things the hard way. But yes, as an operator, it's more than just having an LOA. It's more than just having a loan partner.
Right.
This all of a sudden means I get up in the morning and I go to the office at this time.
Yeah.
I leave at this time. I take 3 to 6 weeks vacation. And when I'm on vacation, I'm on vacation. Like, it doesn't mean that you're not like working on the airplane to and from.
Yeah.
And it might not even mean that you don't check in with your team for 15 or 20 minutes every other day, just like any, quarterback would maybe want to check in on their team.
Yeah.
But it means that your system runs your business, not you.
Exactly.
Right? And I say that all the time. The difference between an operator and a Rainmaker thinks that they are the most important person. An operator understands that their system is the most important aspect of their business. Now, they built the system. The system was built on their success, on their philosophies, on their personality, on the clients they serve. But everything is written, everything is documented, and there are role players on the team. Every role player has the right seat on the right bus.
Yeah.
Right? An operator understands that it's not about having people on your team, but having the right people.
The right people in the right seats.
But the right people in the right seats, following the systems that you have laid out, that you've coached and taught them.
Right.
All of a sudden, you realize that borrower needs a great client experience. That realtor needs a predictable, accountable experience. But it doesn't have to be you that's actually singing the song, making the or making the recipe. Meaning it's your recipe, but you got other cooks in the kitchen that are actually following, using your ingredients, using your combination of salts and spices to actually deliver a meal that the guest is going to be like, that's a really good meal.
Yeah, well, like Robert Kiyosaki cash flow quadrant is like, it's not a business if it requires you. You can't move into the business quadrant as a sole operator. So yeah, I mean, that's really big. So you have to be able to build systems. It has to be able to run without you there. And even at like TLOP, you know, right now we still require you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We still require Dustin Owen. And
Yeah.
we probably, this is a little different. We probably always will, right? You're the face,
But you know what? It's okay to say that we're at the Rainmaker phase.
we need better systems. We're working on it. That's why we're implementing, right?
Yes.
Traction and EOS.
Yes.
But we need those systems in place so that it doesn't require you. And now we are a business and we are sellable.
Well, and the good news is this. Like, look, we have coaches Ross and Scott.
Yep.
Are crushing it with Coach on Call.
Yeah.
Coach Christy is getting ready to take her second launch boot camp.
I heard she did great.
Ross and Scott crush it on Elite. Coach Brian crushed it on Elite. Gwen is showing up on Tuesdays and she's coaching.
Yeah.
Rebecca's showing up on Tuesdays and she's coaching Coach Brian. So in a way,
No, I know.
right, in a way, we do have our coaches. And
The minute we can position it without Dustin Owen, where we could sell it without Dustin Owen, yes, they crush it.
Yes.
And the product is amazing.
Yes.
Without you there.
yep.
But to be able to sell it without Dustin Owen, that's the hard part.
And maybe that's going to be our stage 5.
Yeah, it
So
might
maybe we right now at TLOP are between stages 3 and 4.
At TLOP, but I was going to say, moving into stage 5, because that's legacy builder, and that's where you're at, though. This is your legacy, right?
Yeah, TLOP is my legacy.
It is. You're in the legacy build, and this is you multiplying people, developing leaders, mentors others, creates opportunities for the next generation.
Okay, so let's just circle back real quick.
Yeah, my bad.
So
Go.
hopefully people understand what stage 4 is.
Yep.
You're the operator. You know you're an operator when you are making $500,000+ a year.
Yep.
Like that's the number I'm gonna put on it. Your business runs because of you, but not because of you. If that makes any sense. You built it. You manage it. You train those people. They're following your systems and processes. But so it's running because of you, but it's not running because it needs you.
Exactly.
You show up, you play your role. You're doing it Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, 8 to 5. Maybe you're taking every other Friday off. You're taking 3 to 6 weeks vacation.
Yep.
And you understand that leads will get generated, loans will be closed, clients will give good reviews, regardless of your involvement in your particular system, your particular setup. So that's stage 4. Stage 5 now.
Legacy builder.
Now it's like, okay, what does that mean in the mortgage sense? We can maybe put a little like capstone on this for like what it means for my career in TLOP if you want to go down that path.
I feel like you are in this phase legacy builder. You're a little past it even.
I think it's going to vary. So let's stay on topic for 1 second.
Yeah, let's do it.
If you are a branch operator or a company owner,
Okay.
right, or you're a team leader, you're just running a big team.
Yep.
Your legacy is literally when you have helped 2 or 3 people that started on your team
Yep.
go out and replicate what you did. So now they're a 40 or a 60 or $100 million producer, almost no different than if you follow my sports analogies. Andy Reid has done this in the NFL. Bill Belichick has done this in the NFL. Right. Nick Saban has done this in college football. Yep. I'm sure if I looked at baseball or hockey or, even soccer, football, if we're in Europe, I'm sure there's other types that have done this, but the legacy for me and the mortgage side of things would be there's other people running my playbook, using my recipe, my formula, and they're having their own careers outside of what it meant to work on my team. And at this standpoint, my team doesn't need me. Like whatever role I was doing as an operator, coming in from 8 to 4, Monday through Friday, taking every other Friday off, 6 weeks vacation, all of a sudden I get with my team for 2 to 4 hours a week, typically as a coach, a consultant, or like think of the board. I'm on the board of directors. I'm the chairperson of the board. That's what it would mean in the mortgage space, whether you're a company owner all the way down to a team leader.
If you're a licensed originator, who's closing loans, but you're not consistent, this is for you. If you're brand new or just looking for motivation, trust me, this is not for you. Most LOs don't need more information. They need structure. They need proven processes and somebody to hold them accountable. TLOP's Originator Coaching gives you weekly live coaching, scripts top producers actually use, and step-by-step business systems you can implement immediately. Not someday, we're talking day one. You're not watching videos alone. You're executing in real time with other originators who take this seriously. Right now, you can try it free for 2 weeks. That's 2 full weeks for free. You'll sit in on live coaching calls. You'll get access to the frameworks and see exactly how top producers run their business. If it creates clarity, if it creates momentum, or even if it puts wins on the board, you keep going. If it doesn't, no worries, you can cancel. No pressure at all. Click the link, start the 2-week trial, and finally, build this like a business, not a side hustle.
Now, you were trying to say something about this is my legacy.
Yeah.
Tell
but
me more
it's-
about that.
So, all right. So you're
Speak
you're
sweet
pa-
nothings to me.
As far as it being on topic for an LO, you're past legacy builder at this point. I mean, like you're not producing for a particular company, for a particular branch, let's say, or division. Like you're not grooming people. However, you are for the industry now. I mean, it's like
Yes.
for the industry as a whole, you are now building a legacy. Who becomes successful because of you? A lot of people in this industry. So I feel like, you can argue you're past it or you're in it.
I would say
through
it's
TLOP.
interesting, both.
Yeah.
This is my legacy play because I had an amazing career
Right.
in the mortgage origination aspect of the mortgage industry.
Yeah.
And yes, I can look back, and I've always said this, the trophies, the awards, the trips, the money, none of that ever holds a candle to the careers.
Right.
Right. The careers that we were able to be a part of to help build, the people we introduced to this industry. I mean, I had breakfast with Aaron Duba. Shout out to Aaron Duba at Cross Country Mortgage. And he said something that I think to him, it may have been like a tongue in cheek. I took it as like a badge of honor. And I remember when we brought Aaron into the industry, how much skepticism he had, how much he was concerned in the early years that he was letting us down or not doing all the right things. And we're like, dude, you're crushing it. You're going to be great. And he is. He'll do 30, 40 million this year. He's running his own branch, like all those things. However, Aaron says to me, he's like, man, now that I run my own branch and we're recruiting and hiring LOs and I'm having to manage LOAs and processors, he's like, every day I sound more and more like you.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And
that's
I
awesome.
think that's a little of a tongue in cheek.
yeah.
Like,
That's
man, it's kind of like me. I'm like my wife says, oh my God, you sound like your father. I'm like, that's such an honor for you to tell me that I just said something that sounds like my dad when I look up to him.
Yeah.
But like to hear someone like Aaron say that to me,
That's awesome.
I was like, well, I must have done something right. So when you're talking about legacy, I can say that at Waterstone, David, Mike, and I 100% got to 4.
Yeah.
Like we definitely got to 4. I think we would have had to stay together longer. We would have had to have been more in sync, meaning like our visions aligned. And the company would have had to have been supportive of this. And I don't doubt they would have been with the leadership that was there at the time. But for us to go like to stage 5. But that was the direction that, yes, I was looking to go, but definitely got to 4. That makes you feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside. You're trying to say that TLOP is my legacy. I think it will be, but I think TLOP would have never existed if it weren't for the first 20 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Starting with Home Bank, throwing in a little countrywide, 17 years at Waterstone, even the last year at Lower, I think helped us get TLOP to where it is. And now, yes, I think I can impact we can impact more LOs.
Yep.
That means more LOs can be better partners to realtors, builders, financial advisors. More LOs can better serve their community, be the subject matter experts, be the source of information.
Yep.
And then because of that, more borrowers will connect with and contact the LOs that are touched by TLOP.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, more borrowers, which are homeowners and home buyers, have an experience that is one in which is way more advisor and very little technician. And I think my last word of caution to the group is this. If there's one aspect of your job that's going to go away first, it's technician. If there's a second aspect of your job functionality that'll go away second, it's advisor. Right? Think about it. Like robots and AI can do, even now, a lot of the technical work. It may need human oversight, but it sure as hell doesn't need 10 humans doing oversight.
Right.
It may need one human doing the oversight that 10 used to have to do. And even on the advisor side, I mean, can you not right now, Mike, code AI that is basically if this, then that? If your credit score is 670 and you answer these 3 questions, I'm going to give you this advice. Then based on that advice, if you answer A or B, I'll give you the next set of advice. And all of a sudden, the advice we used to give is something that a agentic agent can give. At which point it's like, crap, then I better be a damn good Rainmaker. Because Rainmaker now may be barrier of entry, at which point then we're all focused on, of the Rainmakers, how many more of us can become operators? I still do think that stage 5, the legacy builder, the legacy leaver, the legacy creator, I think that'll still be the North Star that we're all marching towards. It's still the big, hairy, audacious goal. If you get there, we'll write books about you. But I think there's no reason why we all can't be today, years old, saying, I'm going to be a Rainmaker. And if you're already a Rainmaker, I want you to look yourself in the mirror, have a hard conversation with that man or that woman, and ask yourself, how close are you to becoming an operator? And if you're not yet a Rainmaker, you need coaching. And if you're a Rainmaker who's struggling to become an operator, you need coaching. Don't go at this alone. We're not the only coaching platform out there. We're damn good at what we do. We're really affordable. Some would say, I would say, I've been told by others, the number one value. But man, look our way. If not, then continue to tune in to free content like this. Take your notes and then be really good at having the self-discipline and the drive to implement what you're learning through your free resources.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for your time today, Mike.
Thanks for yours.
This was a fun episode. Karina, thanks for hanging out with us.
Of course. Thank you.
I bet you're going to produce the crap out of this one for us.
For sure. Definitely.
Very cool. Hey, if you guys ever dislike any of the edits, just blame Karina Mojica.
Just drop a comment with her name.
Just call
I'm not taking responsibility.
Just call her out and be like, Karina, you need to get better, girl.
Okay, I'll take it as
or go on the cruise and tell her in person.
Or go on the cruise. Nah, look, signing off, check this out. If you want to know more about TLOP, just go to our freaking website, TLOPonline.com. It's TLOPonline.com. That's where you can sign up for a free 14-day trial of our coaching community. That's where you can find out more information regarding our various boot camps, such as Launch. It's where you can find the information regarding the Unite Caribbean Takeover mortgage sales event happening September 14th through 18th.
Sign up for the newsletter.
Make
That's
sure
where you can sign up for the newsletter.
That's where you can sign up for the newsletter, which is how you get invited to one free coaching call every single month. Is by signing up for the newsletter. And then if you ever want to inquire about what it would take to book me to come to your event and speak on stage, or better yet, if you want to book me for a live webinar specifically for your company, I've done 2 of these in the past week alone. All the information, again, can be found on our website, tloponline.com. I'm Dustin Owen. You can find me on LinkedIn. First name Dustin, last name Owen. He is Mike Siciliano, a.k.a. Marketing Mike. You can't find him because he runs things incognito. She's Karina Mojica, and she would rather if you didn't find her. But if you're looking for her, look her up on TikTok. It's Special K with 2 Ks. K-A-Y.
He's lying.
Such a KK.
Nonetheless, this is the Lone Star Podcast. We appreciate you stopping by to hang out with us. It's all the time we have for you today, but we do look forward to catching you on the next episode. Peace.